It's so crazy because you know that there's these kids, these high school, these middle schoolers that are just like, I want to be,
right.
You know, they attribute likes and hearts and comments and followers to like love and worthiness. And it is just awful. And that is what really scares me about our upcoming generation.
Hey y'all, I'm Kimberly Warner, mama of two, lover of shoes, and serial entrepreneur. I've dedicated my life to helping women succeed in business by just being themselves. But the path isn't always easy. We have all gone through challenges and fear, but it is through those times when we learn who we really are, authentically. This podcast is for anyone who has experienced fear or is looking for the inspiration to do more, be more, or like me, rise from the ashes and be better than before. Here we go. Hey y'all, we're back for another episode of Fearlessly Authentique. I'm your host, Kimberly Warner, and we are in the studio on a Monday with mimosas. Welcome. Yeah. Oh, and Eddie is doing the recordings. This is going to be the most fun podcast, and I promise I'm not even close to being drunk yet. She's all glittery and gorgeous. Lauren Sturridge, who is actually of the younger generation. So we're going to get some really interesting tidbits from her today. But she is an influencer. She does blogging. She's got a full-time job as well. But most people know her on all of the, what did you call it earlier? The gram?
The gram.
The gram.
All
She's
the
like,
socials.
Yeah, I'm like, are you speaking another language? Like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. But I'm so excited because we've known each other for a long time. In fact, we've been friends since I opened my store, Authentique in Kenosha.
I don't even think it was barely open yet.
It barely was not. I met you then.
Yeah.
And you've been through a lot since then. So when I met you, I don't think you'll care. You're an open book.
Nope.
When I met you, you were engaged.
Yes.
And she had come in and she just really liked the store and the vibe and whatever. And she wanted to do kind of like ask your bridesmaids, you know, will you be my bridesmaid thing? And so I was super excited to have like a very first little party. So at Authentique, we do these shopping soirees. So after hours, if you have 8 or more people that want to shop or whatever, I do free food and free mimosas. And so it was more special for you because it was you. And your mom is a really good friend of my friend Tammy and working at the store. So anyway, so I make these cute little boxes, and she does this awesome thing and all these pictures, and then what happens?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so that was like the first event you had. I think one of the first like events you had, and it was so fun. We shut the whole place down.
Yeah.
And it was so special. But yeah, so long story short, wedding did not happen. So the wedding did not happen, called the whole thing off.
Guy was a big fat jerk.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's stuff that you only hear about that you only see on reality TV, and you're like, wow, why is E! Entertainment really not paying me for this? Like, they should be cutting me a check. Like, this is real deal drama. And like, it's only in Kenosha. And then you're like, wow, oh, this really happened. So yeah, I mean, definitely wasn't expected by any means. And it's been a very long transition. But yeah, Kimberly was there from the get-go. So.
But that had to have been hard, like just on the real, like for you to be such a pretty large enigma, a large figure in our community, because you are. So technically, for all of you, though, that are out there that aren't from Kenosha or Wisconsin, what are you called on the socials?
So my tag would be the Pretty Broke Blonde. And so I started that in about 2015, and I've just kept it. It just has a nice ring to it. And, you know, people reach out to me on the street, you know, they're like, oh my God, I know you. And actually on St. Patrick's Day, it was pretty funny. St. Patrick's Day this year, one adorably intoxicated woman, she was like, you're the broke blonde. And I was like, throw a pretty in front of it and we got it. And I was like, it was so funny. And I was like, you know, we'll give her a break. She's probably one too many Jamesons in, but it was hysterical. And so, I mean, it is kind of fun to be, oh, I follow you. And, you know, you don't know everybody who follows you. And so you're like, wow, I had no idea. So yeah, I mean, it is really fun to kind of be a small town.
Not really, though. You're
it's
kind of
fun.
a big deal. You're kind of a big deal. And I always say that about myself, too. But, you know, not
Very
quite
true.
as big of a deal
So
as
true.
you.
False.
But so that's...
Celebrities.
What's that? What did you...
We're just 3 celebrities.
Oh, yeah. We can't leave Eddie out because he definitely he's a bigger celebrity than both of us combined.
Yeah, the real McCoy.
And y'all are both like younger generation. So are you considered still a millennial? I forget how old you are.
So thank goodness I am not in the Gen Z because I'm scared, like genuinely scared. So I am technically a millennial. I think it is between 1990 or 1989. So I was born 1990. So
Okay.
yeah, I am technically a millennial. So I just do not identify.
Which is why you know so much, though, about all of the social media stuff. And when you see these pictures she does, and I'm always like, dude, how did you even have enough time in the day to like look that good, to let alone document it? So tell us a little bit about how you got to be the influencer that you are. Because technically you are a true real life influencer. In order to be an influencer, you have to have more than 5,000 followers.
Yeah, there's different tiers for
Right.
sure.
And you have well more than 5,000.
Yes, we're peaking on about 10,000. I actually am down from what I used to have, but we'll get into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us how that all started, and what does that even mean when you say you're an influencer? Like, what does that mean? What do you do? And do you make money doing it? Like, do you get free product?
Yeah.
Like, how does that all work, and what is it? 'Cause
Yeah,
I have
all
no
right.
idea.
Ready for long-winded Lauren, and go. So in 2015, it was literally just, let's post an outfit of the day. Let's just post an outfit each day, like selfie queen type situation. And then people just started asking, oh, where'd you get that top? Where'd you get those shoes? And I'm like, okay. So then I was like, why don't I talk about why I outfitted it, where I got the pieces, why I chose to, coordinate the way I did. So then it started then that's where it turned into a blog and my, long-term love of writing. My original major in college was journalism. That makes you no money. So yeah, I thought that was pretty fun to, get started and get into. But then I started realizing, oh, there's ways to really monetize this. And like people started reaching out and they started asking, hey, can you rep our brand? Can you do that? So an influencer and a brand ambassador and a blogger, they're all different, but they're all tied into each other in a little way. So for me, I would like to consider myself more of an influencer. The blogging is very time consuming.
But that's kind of how you started.
Yes.
And for people who can't see into the studio right now or know what you look like, you were putting outfits together that most people would never normally think to put together. And I mean that in a good way, a good way. And then they would see you. And one thing too, and I know you'll talk about it too, is body image and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you are by no means like 12 pounds, but you are so perfect in your body and you exude confidence and all this stuff that most women do not. And then you put together all these like funky, cool outfits. And that's where I think people really started to fall in love with you because they would see you put together something that I would always want to put together. You can actually mix, a print with a stripe or whatever and with a belt and make it look fabulous. And I feel like maybe you were the originator of doing that, at least around here. I don't know anyone else that dresses as good as you or as different. And you look different almost every day.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you said that. Yes. I have a rule, everybody that's listening, and it's the most extra AF rule. And it's I never wear the same thing twice. And that may sound absolutely bonkers, but it is just a matter of switching it up and, making sure, it's just a different vibe each day. One day I have like super curly hair. Another day I have box braids. Another day I do the Kardashian slick back bun and, or another day I have Nikes and, Jordans on. I just like don't make sense. And that's, I think, the most fun part about this. It's not supposed to make sense. And so one of my favorite things to do when I do go thrifting or when I do go shopping is find the ugliest thing or find something that is so batshit that no one would ever think to wear it. And then I put it together and people are like, what in the world did you just do? And it's so fun. It's like a high for me. It's like a little hype.
Yeah.
So, I around here, definitely no one dresses like me. I mean, I have gone other places and people are like, wow, you look awesome. But I think that really plays into the love of vintage too. And I know that you share the same love of vintage and old style. I mean, look at your whole house is gorgeous, by the way, everybody. It's all just very vintage glam. And that's such my overall vibe. I always joke that I'm not meant to be from here. I'm from the 20s, roaring 20s, like all the prohibition booze, all of the chandeliers, all of the parties.
Same.
I know. And I named my cat Gatsby. I mean, do we need any more? So
I love it.
It's a great
And
Gatsby.
let's just clarify, when you said you don't wear the same thing twice, that doesn't mean you have a cute jean jacket on. You're not going to wear a jean jacket again. You're just not going to wear it with the exact shirt and the belt.
Like
and
combinations. I will not wear the same combination twice. You will never see like the same combination twice. And it's really fun. But yeah, I mean, to get back to what you were saying, I love to influence. I am not a fan of, let me just say this, fun fact. I have never received a payment, actual payment in the form of currency. And I always tell that to people. I will exchange marketing for product because I think that totally plays into like selling your soul to selling your soul to social media. why would I talk about something that I don't even particularly like, that I don't really love, and then, because I get a commission check from it,
Right.
now I'm going to really pretend I like it. No, I'm going to try out these leggings or watch or whatever you send me. If I love it, you'll hear about it. If I don't, you won't hear about it. I mean, it's
Right.
really simple to me, and I think a lot of people get lost in that because they want to be relevant. They want to gain their following, and it's, oh my gosh, you don't realize how damaging you are to your own brand. And I learned that, I mean, you definitely learn along the way. I mean, by no means perfect at 31. I'm still figuring this out. It was really meant to be something fun, and I'm so glad that I have come this far doing it, and I've learned so much, still learning, and the evolution of all these damn videos and TikToks and Reels, I mean, it is just
Yes.
never ending. So the constant education is just mind-blowing.
Right.
for
I've already
sure.
hired her to teach me how to do the tweeter. And the fact that I don't even know how to say it, right, is probably problematic for you. Going back to that just a little bit, because you said something about selling your soul. And I think that there are so many younger people right now who know how to use the tweeters of the world and the talks and the dance this and the reel and the whole, I don't even know. Some people, you see them out there and they just are putting everything good, everything bad. Like sometimes when people are posting pictures naked, holding their baby or whatever with underwear on that are still from the hospital. I don't want to see that. That's a legit picture I saw. I don't really want to see that. I'm glad that you're happy and you just gave birth to your baby. Could you maybe wait till you get home and you don't have the hospital underwear on? I mean,
oh my God, you're such a boss. Like, what a controversial thing to say, but it's so true. I mean, it is, but I mean, you know it. You know you're going to get some Karen on here. Like, it is a beautiful thing, but it's so true. Is there any couth? Is there any privacy? Is there anything that's not left for the public eye? I mean,
Right.
Don't get me wrong. There's so many beautiful parts to like all of that, but good God. I mean, and everybody, they put their entire lives out there, good, bad, and different. I mean, there are people out there that just literally put their entire life, all of their relationship fails, woes, and everything. And it's funny, I mean, a lot of you, if you're listening, I mean, a lot of you may not have known, I'm sure you all know now, but I mean, that I called my wedding off. I mean, I did not put that shit out there. I mean, that is so personal and it was super public and devastating and it's like no bueno and you couldn't even go anywhere without somebody being like, oh my God,
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Or they would be like, did you see this? And show me their phone and show me this. Oh my God, please go away. I'm just trying to enjoy a cocktail. Much needed after all of this. Like, I am out tons of money. My family's out tons of money. This is also devastating.
You're
And
just trying to
just get through
heal.
the day. Yeah, for sure. And like, people just didn't understand that. So, I mean, people do totally just put everything out there about their personal life. And then they almost get offended if you ask questions. It's just so backwards. So, I mean, I'm glad that you brought that up about, the whole selling your soul thing too, because people really I think it's going to become a scary thing for our youth. And I really am hoping that people they don't get so caught up in this and they're able to free think for themselves and they're not like, oh, this celebrity says this is right. And so now it is. It's scary, dude. So, I mean, Gen Z scares me and I'm going to keep my side part and I'm going to keep my middle part and I'm going to keep my skinny jeans.
Right.
I don't know if you heard all of that, but.
D, all of the above. And just so you know, skinny jeans were invented in the 80s from us. But
For sure.
The thing that is cool about you, though, is that you are super authentic in what you post. So you had just posted something about people asking you about have you gotten the vaccination. And you're like,
gosh.
it ain't none of your business.
Oh, it was a Kevin Hart skit. It was an old Kevin Hart skit. Yep.
Again, that's the thing I don't know how to do. What is that called?
It's an Insta reel. It's an Instagram reel. It's essentially a TikTok. I mean, if we're really being honest.
But you're like mouthing the words to
yes,
him.
you're just
it's
lip
so
syncing.
funny.
Yeah, you choose the audio. I'll show you what to do.
Fearlessly Authentique is sponsored by Report Candle Factory in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Female-owned, small batch, 100% soy wax. Follow them or find them at report.com. You started all of this and you were saying, you were talking about followers. So tell us about that, because I know it's like, how do you even get all these followers? I mean, I had a babysitter one time and no lies, she had like 4,000 followers like on Instagram. And I was like, most of them were men and most of the pictures she had were like half naked. But,
wonder why.
Yes, I don't know if that was authentic or not, but I just didn't want my kids following her. But so how do you even get followers? Because I know just in business, like we're just authentically try to get people to follow us back or whatever, but
Just the best way.
how do you do it or how did you start?
So when I first started, like obviously it grew, from 2015 it grew. So over a couple of years it grew to like, 3 to 5,000. And then I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? And it was just, it's just people around the community following. And then I was just like, man, how do I get more following? You get stuck in a rut and it starts to become, when it's new to you, it starts to become like a high and you're like, oh my God, give me more. So you start receiving these emails and they're everywhere. And these emails were like, hey, purchase 1,000 followers for $10, 20,000, blah, 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 50,000 for, 10, 20, 30, so on. So I think I purchased like 5,000 and it was an additional 5,000 for $25. dollars And then it was like a BOGO or some garbage. And then I had boom, right overnight, I had 15,000 followers.
And
then,
like other countries.
oh my God, my number one following was men in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. And I was like, pardon me. I was like, I've never even been to Rio. I was like, this is cool, but no. And then you
cool, but not helping you build the brand.
Not helping at all. Like people in Kenosha need to see what I'm doing, or like, people in Milwaukee and whatever. So it was so crazy. And honestly, like after a while, I mean, don't get me wrong, people started reaching out because they see that number and they're like, ooh, you're important.
Right.
Which that's so trash. Like the people see a number and they're like, ooh, you're important because you have 20, 30, 50, a million. That measures your level of importance in this world. That's trash. I can't do it anymore. So this is what I did. And I recommend this for anyone who's bought followers that really wants to create that organic or get back to that, organic or authentic following is let them dwindle. Let it dwindle. And I did. And I let it dwindle back down. And right now I'm at an authentic, organic 9,800 back to growing it organically. Again, when you had said that about your babysitter, I mean, all of my, majority of my following was men. Now, majority of my following is women. My number one demographic and location is Kenosha, Racine, Milwaukee, and, and Rio de Janeiro. I mean, there's still a few that might hang out because I have a big butt, and they have big butts out in Brazil. They got the Brazilian butt lift. That's where it came from, everybody, derived. So, that is what you do. But I mean, it's so crazy because that there's these kids, these high school, these middle schoolers that are just like, I want to be,
right.
They attribute likes and hearts and comments and followers to like love and worthiness. And it is just awful. And that is what really scares me about our upcoming generation. So I try and just keep it as real, raw, authentic as possible when I post and just say what's up, say what's on my mind, and it pays off or it doesn't. And honestly, when I post things, I watch and I'm like, I'm going to lose followers from this. But in all reality, I don't want you following me if you don't want to, or if you don't value what I'm saying. I just if you're like, forget you, whatever, then please, I would rather have people that actively and, want to hear what I have to say or want to see my content. I mean, that's what you want. You want people that want to see you or want to interact with you.
Right. And believe in your authenticity. And even though they may not agree with everything you say, they still look at you as kind of a beacon of light for their daughter. And that's how I feel about you because I have, a almost 16-year-old daughter. There's nothing on your page that you've ever said that I wouldn't want Maddie to read or look at or anything like that, the way I felt about that one babysitter, because she was just doing things to get that number. And for a long while, I don't know where the hearts came from, but I don't know if that was Musically. It was Musically. I don't know if you know what that was.
Oh my gosh, that was like
so
more long ago.
I know. Well, that was like a little kid one, and she was a little kid at that time. And so it was like I forced them to have those, her and Jack Lloyd, to have those apps or whatever on privacy, meaning like only friends could follow or friends of friends or whatever.
Right.
And when I wasn't looking, she would like switch it to public or whatever. Right. And then, creepy men and things were following her and giving her hearts. And then it was like a competition. Like she had more hearts than someone at school. And it's like, you're 11. What in the world does this have to do with how you feel about yourself? And also, you're 11. Like you don't even have a body yet. So don't be like twerking and dancing and like wearing crop tops like negative. So it was a huge point in my life, my relationship with my daughter. My husband, I was married at the time. My husband and I were just like, some bad shit happened from that. And, and this is a truly authentic podcast, so I apologize for the cuss words because I don't normally cuss on the podcast. But it was a moment where something almost really bad could have happened to Maddie because of that. And so that's why I'm terrified of social media. And it's probably why I skew away from it. I back away from it, and I try to let other people do it because I just am afraid I'm going to do something wrong or post something, incorrect or whatever. And let's be real, like everybody knows me in a pretty huge limelight, and some of the things I believe in, a lot of people don't agree with, and that's totally fine. But I'm an adult,
Right.
like I went through a hard time with it. That's why the podcast started. But I know better than to say like, oh, if I don't have, 150 likes on this particular post, that means I'm a bad person or a dumb person or whatever. And she at 11, wasn't fully getting that. So that's what I love about your message.
That's a huge thing. And I have a 14-year-old sister, and she is just, we make fun of her. She's like the TikTok queen. And, every time I'm over, she's always grounded. I'm like, I remember we went over for her birthday party and she was grounded. I was like, how in the hell are you grounded on your birthday? And she's like, well, because I added somebody on Snapchat that dad didn't approve of. And I'm like, oh my God, you absolutely should be grounded. Guys are creepy. And, you just don't. That privacy setting for kids is so important. Good God, I do not have any kids yet, you guys, and I am terrified. So, for how this is all going to evolve. But I mean, the best thing that I know that I can do is really just set that bar, set that example, and
right.
And I'm not trying to be anybody's role model. I'm not trying to be anybody. I'm not trying to be anything. I'm not Mother Teresa by any means. I'm not perfect, but at the same time, it's just, God, there's got to be more good women out there that really just are like, yeah, that's cool that you believe that, but I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to follow like what everyone else is doing. And you have to really just. I'm not going to wear crop tops. So I don't wear crop tops really now, and like I could if I wanted to or whatever, but it's just, I just don't follow those same trends. I mean, think about all these young girls getting plastic surgery and all these like lip fillers and all, that's a whole nother topic and opinion I have, but these girls are just doing so much to try and fit in, and they're trying to be these people that they see on TV and on Instagram. They're trying to be these Instagram models. And it's like some of these 14-year-olds are unrecognizable, and they almost look like full-fledged adults, which is scary. Hello, the sex trafficking whole thing is, that's a whole huge topic also. So it's just like,
right.
You have to take all these things into consideration with social media, and you almost have to, it's like a respect. You have to respect social media or it will not respect you back. And so that's just kind of,
yeah, that's a cool way to put it for sure.
For sure.
And the one thing that you have going for you as far as like when you have kids is that you at least understand the beast. If you can understand and the beast, you can control it, or you can help your children understand it as well and help them control it. And that's something that I, failed at. I didn't know. I had plenty of younger like nannies and stuff in my, friends of mine that nannied the kids when they were little that were in my corner that were always watching Maddie's social media. That's actually how I found out that she had gone public and something bad was taking place, because she had logged in on an ex-nanny's phone and she was getting these messages from a man. And so I was at least smart enough to make sure that I had multiple young women who were good role models in my kids' lives from birth until now even. They're still part of their lives. And they were watching because I didn't know how to. And so that's the one thing that you do have going for you, is that you understand the beast, so that when you get to that point, and it's going to evolve, I'm sure, in 1,000 ways before you have a baby. Maybe you'll have a boy and you won't have to worry about it as much.
Just let me have a cute gay son that we can just shop and I can just dress up. Please, just like, please save my life.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. I said what I said.
I love it.
I feel bad for some of these moms now. Like, they're like, I have no idea how to work this shit. And like, I don't know how to do this. And it's scary because there's so many things that kids are just like hiding from you daily and you have no idea. And, back in my day, it was like, well, we're downloading illegal music on Napster and LimeWire and we have AIM, like AOL chat. AOL chat was bad. Does anyone feel me on that? Come on, Eddie. I know you had
Eddie does. He was nodding.
Napster and LimeWire, we were...
LimeWire killed my parents' computers.
Napster killed my parents. So I'm like, but that was some illegal piracy. So what's the worst of two evils? But, we were not doing that back in the day. And then
I was just letting my parents, the computer paper that had all the dots, you would have to hook it up onto all the little nubs and then wind it. If I let the paper go empty, that's when I got in trouble. So there was no internet until I went to college, and that's how my very longest, most loved boyfriend ever broke up with me. Was my very first email in college. It was like the and then it's the green flashing square, and then finally it was like YOUHAVEMAIL -1. And I'm like, I have a message. I have one email. And then I opened it up and it was like, I want to break up. I think my
breakup email.
I think my love affair of all things computer and social just died that day. It just died that day.
Via email.
Junior year in college, which is crazy that that's when the internet started. But
oh my God.
we had floppy disks back in our day.
I
so.
have floppy disks too with some bomb selfies I should try and retrieve. I don't know. I really remember. I remember like that's when my hair was good. That's when like my teeth were straight still. Oh my God, it was great.
I think all like all
thanks.
y'all, everything about
All
you
y'all.
is still perfect right here.
No,
but
no.
yeah, there was no such word as selfie when we had floppy disks.
Selfie.
But it's so crazy. But I do think that it is so interesting how it's growing and how it's influencing society in multiple ways, good, bad, and indifferent. One thing that is positive about it that I would never, I'm never going to be a social hater, because when the pandemic hit, of course, without
Huge.
social media, without like
Huge.
the internet, we would not have been able to survive. And my mom owned a business back in the day when they're a restaurant and a retail food business. So similar to my gift store, but with food related items. And, if anything like that had happened back then, she would have had to shut the doors. I mean, because people wouldn't have been able to come through them. And there was no other way, no other medium to be able to
fantastic.
reach your customers and still have sales to still be able to pay your employees. So
That is incredible. And I mean, I will say that the one there, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is such a positive thing that happened, especially in our community. I feel like it hit so much harder in our community because we're all we have each other's back, and it was
Close-knit.
it was so close knit, and we all felt it super hard, and it hit so close to home, especially for you. I mean, with your building and everything that happened. And so I really think that everyone rallied up and they pulled up their bootstraps and they're like, all right, we got this. Like we figured this out together, and it was really cool to see. And yeah, I mean, with all of the curbside pickup and you know what? That's what I love. The creativity and the innovation.
Right.
That shit is awesome, because yes, come on. Let's use social media for something other than garbage. Let's
Right.
use it. Hey, this company is struggling. This business is struggling downtown. Let's have everybody bum rush them and have them sell out of, what was it, Oliver's Bakery? Their donuts. They had no donuts for a day or two because they bum rushed them. Common Grounds, they ran out of coffee. I mean, it's just like, we need that kind of thing.
yes, my whole focus was like whatever restaurant I can get pickup from, DoorDash from.
Oh, so did I.
Sit outside
Every night.
until like October, 31st with a jacket, because that was the only way that we could get food at some of the places. And now I think most of those restaurants that used the innovation that you were speaking of, and so many of them did, so many of them are thriving now in a bigger way because
Right.
people realize, wow, their food really is good. We've only been here for a beer or something, or I
Yes.
didn't even know they had food at Rustic Road,
Right.
and
Oh,
then
same.
and they have the best food. And so I think it really expanded our dining market in our particular downtown.
I agree, 1,000%. And
As well.
I remember too, and that was fun being an influencer, because I pretty much was like, screw every outsider company. Like, let me advocate, I think I remember the Brian Anthony necklaces. I
Yep,
was like,
for me,
those
yep.
sold out so quickly. I still didn't get one. But I mean, I remember I was just like, I want one of your necklaces. And I was going to blast that. And I remember Sassy B, you could get liquor from anywhere. Liquor stores were considered essential, which they are.
Yeah.
Let's just point that out.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
but I mean,
even on a Monday.
Yeah, for sure. But I remember I'm going to buy booze from Sassy B's. I'm going
Yep.
to buy it from them, from behind their bar, because they're
Same.
stuck with it.
Same.
I remember I was very fortunate, you guys, to be able to, work throughout the entire pandemic, like start to finish, no glitch, no anything. And so I was, dude, I'm going to be the best damn economist that I can be.
Right.
So I just spent money locally and poured it into every business I could and tried to do that. And I think and then I would just blast them on social media, and I would use my platform for that. And I would have done it anyway, but it was just, it felt so much better than posting, oh my God, I got this from Amazon, or I got this from here. And it was just so much better to be able to do,
Right.
hey, look at my champagne I got from Sassy's. I'm
Right.
chilling in my kitchen doing TikToks, because
Right.
that's when I downloaded TikTok, was
Right.
during the quarantine.
During the pandemic.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I won't do it. I won't do it.
And
I
no
won't do
shame
it.
to big box. I mean, everybody's got to love their Amazon
love
Prime.
Amazon,
Get
yep.
it like in a hot second. But if it's something that you can buy local, and especially in a community in all communities worldwide, all economy was suffering during that, and people were losing their jobs, and waitresses couldn't waitress and chefs couldn't cook. And, you know, and so every last person who did what you did and used your platform for good, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I know probably the rest of our whole community and the Milwaukee community thanks you for doing that because, I mean, you just did one recently with the champagne bottles that you love, and then you brought them to me for a candle factory. And
so fun.
Eddie actually made those for you. So
thanks, Eddie. I have more for you.
cut them and make them into candles. And that, you know, we got, hey, you know, how do I get one of those or whatever? And it might not be, you know, it might not be 1,000 people, but even 2 new customers is a huge thing. And if we wouldn't have those 2 new customers, and sometimes they become lifelong customers, and that's obviously the goal in small business is to create lifelong customers. And I think you do that also every day for your brand, The Pretty Broke Blonde. So for those of y'all that want to download or check her out.
Listen to Kimberly, shameless plug.
Because I made a pillow for her once that said hashtag Pretty Broke Blonde. And then I was like.
You guys, she started crying because she was
sad.
so upset. And I still have that pillow. It's so cute. She was, I ruined it. I was like, no, you didn't.
I totally did. It's
Pretty Broke Blonde.
So hashtag @ I'm learning all this. Eddie's teaching me, but it's The Pretty, spelled PRETTY, Broke Blonde, BLONDE. Some people don't put an E on the end of blonde. I don't know.
Is there a masculine? I feel like that's what it is. It's a masculine and feminine blonde.
It might be.
Whatever. Blonde is with an E, everybody.
For sure. And also, everyone should be blonde, but I'm just saying. What a blonde thing to do, Eddie says.
3 blondes in this room. And they have the most fun we can all attribute.
We can.
Or attest, pardon me.
But Eddie needs a microphone for him to throw in his quitty whips. He's got quitty whips all the time. So at any rate, it has been a super fun time. I feel like we need to have you back for multiple topics because you just have so many other things that I feel like we could talk about. And so, but in the interest of not having a 4-hour
which we
super
could.
drunk.
Which we could.
We totally could, but we would all be wasted. And it would be the Monday morning, you know, podcast where we're just talking forever and ever. But
until next time.
Until next time. Lauren Sturich, y'all, and she is, again, The Pretty Broke Blonde. You can find her on everything, I'm sure. It's been so much fun on a bright and early Monday morning. I know you have to get back to work, but
it's going to be a fun rest of my day.
Yay! Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
If people want to know more about this particular topic, y'all can go on the website, fearlesslyauthentique.com, and you can also go to the Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Be Fearlessly Authentique, and you can post a question there. And so maybe people have questions about this sort of social media thing, or maybe about their kids going through some of the stuff I went through, and how do you kind of protect and respect social media, as you said, which I think is kind of a hashtag super cool saying that you should start using. So it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Love you to the moon and back.
Same, girl.
Oh my gosh. And stay tuned, y'all. We have so many more awesome guests coming up this month. Again, Lauren Sturich, The Pretty Broke Blonde. Check her out, and y'all have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Fearlessly Authentique. My mom hopes this episode empowered you to be fearless. Please remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Share, rate, and comment because my mom wants to hear all of your feedback. Contact her directly at fearless@fearlesslyauthentique.com. Hosted and executive produced by my mom, Kimberly Warner, produced and mixed by Steve Hawkins, and co-hosted by Eddie Polanzani. Connect with us on social media via fearlesslyauthentique.com. Copyright Fearlessly Authentique 2020.